Hello. Welcome to Reality Stories, where stories do come to life. Please subscribe and share with friends. Now relax and enjoy the story. The morning sun filtered through old curtains in Victor's one-room apartment. He stood before a cracked mirror, adjusting the collar of his only white shirt. His best friend, Tund, stood behind him, arms folded. Tund. Victor, are you sure about this wedding? I mean, Lydia? That girl used to ride in a Prado. Now you're taking her to the registry on a bike. Victor smiled, turning slowly. Victor, love is not about where you're coming from. It's about where you're going together. She said yes to me, Tund. That's all that matters. Tund sighed, shaking his head. Tund, I just hope she's saying yes to you and not saying no to her past. Later that day, the registry. A small crowd gathered outside the local marriage registry. The sun was hot. Lydia arrived in a borrowed white gown, her once glamorous aura slightly faded. Her younger sister, Grace, held her hand tightly. Whispers filled the air. Is that not Lydia? From the Martins family? She's marrying a mechanic's son? After everything she used to have, this? Lydia kept her head high, but her hands trembled. Victor stood by the gate, smiling nervously. When he saw her, his eyes lit up like fireworks. He stepped forward and gently took her hands. Victor, you look beautiful, Lydia. Thank you for choosing me. Lydia tried to smile. Lydia, thank you for not giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. Inside the registry hall, the pastor looked at the couple and said, Pastor, do you, Victor Ojo, take Lydia Martins as your lawfully wedded wife? Victor, with all my heart, I do. Pastor, do you, Lydia Martins, take Victor Ojo as your lawfully wedded husband? There was a pause. Lydia's lips trembled. She closed her eyes for a second, then opened them. Lydia, yes, I do. The crowd clapped, some genuinely, most out of courtesy. But in the corners, a few muttered. She had no choice. Pride goeth before fall. As they stepped out hand in hand, Victor whispered, Victor, don't worry. One day, they'll speak of our love with respect. Lydia looked at him and smiled faintly, but in her heart, a shadow remained. 3 months into their marriage, Victor's hands were covered in oil daily. He fixed cars by morning, delivered packages in the afternoon, and worked as a supermarket night guard from 9 p.m. till dawn. Every penny he saved went into turning Lydia's salon dream into reality. Scene: Victor's late-night return home. Victor stumbled into their small apartment around 1:30 a.m., exhausted. Lydia was half asleep on the couch, wrapped in a shawl. She stood as he entered. Lydia, you're back! You didn't eat dinner. Victor, smiling, making money is more filling than food. Lydia, Victor, you'll break down one day. Please slow down. Victor, I'm doing it for us, for your salon. Lydia looked away, guilt flashing across her face. Lydia, you don't have to. Victor, gently interrupting, I want to see you shine, Lydia. She nodded, fighting tears. Victor, tomorrow, let's go check the new shop. The painter said he's done. Scene: the salon site. Victor unlocked the gate. A modest space with fresh pink walls, glass door, and shelves installed. Victor, your kingdom, my queen. Lydia walked in, stunned. The sunlight poured through the windows, casting a glow. Lydia, Victor, you did all this. Victor, I promised to build you a palace. This is just a throne room. She hugged him tightly. For the first time in weeks, her smile was real. Later that evening, a strange call. Victor stepped out to buy water. Lydia's phone rang. She looked at the caller ID, private number. She hesitated, then answered. Voice on the phone. Lo, Ruff, I see you're living nicely now. But don't forget, secrets buried alive don't stay dead. Lydia, Miles? What do you want? Miles, just checking in. Say hi to your perfect husband. Click. The call ended. Lydia sat on the bed, her breathing shallow. Scene: Lydia's mother's house. Lydia visited her mother, Mrs. Helen, an aging woman bedridden and bitter, Mrs. Helen. So, you're living in a two-room apartment now? Lydia, Mama, I'm trying. Victor is kind. He treats me like gold. Mrs. Helen, kindness doesn't buy back reputation. He's a good man, yes. But does he know about the child? Lydia froze. Lydia, don't bring that up again. Mrs. Helen, you can't erase blood, Lydia. You can hide it, but one day it will spill through the cracks. Lydia stood, suddenly shaken. Lydia, Miles won't find him. I did what I had to do. For my future, Mrs. Helen. And if Victor finds out? Lydia, quietly, he won't. Night scene, Victor and Lydia in bed. Victor, lying beside Lydia, gently brushed her hair back. Victor, you've been quiet lately. Everything okay at your mom's? Lydia, yeah, she just misses her old life, I guess. Victor, I know people judge us, but one day we'll prove love doesn't need wealth. Lydia turned to him and whispered, Lydia, you make me feel safe, even when I don't deserve it. Victor, you deserve more than you think, and I'll spend my life proving that. Lydia closed her eyes, tears sliding down silently. She was married to a man who would die for her, and she was hiding the kind of truth that could destroy him. The city had changed. The streets were louder, the buildings taller, but Miles walked like he owned it, in a black leather jacket and dark sunglasses. He stepped out of a tinted car and lit a cigarette. His driver looked at him curiously. Driver, boss, you sure this is where she lives? Miles, smirking, she can change her address but not her past. Scene, Lydia's salon, late afternoon. Lydia was attending to a customer, braiding her hair and chatting softly. Lydia, so I recommend you deep condition every 2 weeks. Your hair will thank you. The woman smiled. The bell above the door jingled. Lydia looked up and froze. There, in the doorway, stood Miles. Same confident walk. Same cold smile. Miles, hello, Mrs. Ojo. Lydia's hands dropped the comb. The customer looked up, confused. Customer, is everything okay, madam? Lydia, forcing a smile, yes, please give me a minute. She stepped outside with Miles, her heart racing. Lydia, tense, what are you doing here? Miles, relax. I came to admire your shop. Your husband's doing wonders. Hard-working guy. Lydia, Miles, we ended years ago. I told you to never contact me again. Miles, well, I found something, or rather, someone. Her blood ran cold. Lydia, don't play games. Miles, leaning in the boy. Elijah, he's not dead. Lydia, I found him. Lydia stumbled back in shock. Lydia, no, that's not possible. I was told he died. Miles, he's alive. And he looks just like you. What do you think Victor would do if he found out? Lydia clenched her fists. Lydia, what do you want, Miles? He smiled. Miles, everything, money, access, and maybe a second chance. You owe me that. Lydia, I owe you nothing. Miles, we'll see about that. You have 7 days. Then I tell Victor everything. He walked away slowly, whistling. Lydia stood there, breathing hard, her whole world spinning. Scene, that night, Victor notices a change. Victor sat on their small balcony, eating roasted corn. Lydia sat beside him, quiet, distant. Victor, you didn't say how the salon went today. Lydia, distracted, it was fine. Just tired. Victor, you sure? You seem off. She smiled weakly. Lydia, I'm okay, really. Victor placed a hand on hers. Victor, if something is wrong, you can tell me. Lydia, softly, not everything can be fixed with love, Victor. Victor, maybe not, but love can carry the weight. She didn't respond. Tears welled in her eyes, but she turned away quickly before he could see. The week had been long. Lydia was tense, often distracted, checking her phone, looking over her shoulder. But Victor? He was planning a surprise. Scene: Victor and Tund at a car dealership. Tund: Victor, are you sure about this? This car costs more than what most people save in a year. Victor: I've saved for 3 years. I don't care if I have to start again. Lydia deserves it. Tund: You're a madman, you know that? Victor grinned. Victor, madly in love? Scene: Salon grand opening. Morning. Lydia stood outside her shop. Balloons, music, customers, friends. The whole community came to support. She forced smiles, but her mind was on miles. Then came the sound of a car horn. Everyone turned. A shiny red Toyota Corolla drove in, decorated with ribbons. Victor stepped out with a giant smile and a small envelope in his hand. Victor, excited to the love of my life. Your salon has a car now. Gasps, cheers, and clapping filled the air. Lydia froze. Lydia, you bought a car? Victor, for you? So you won't have to stress about transport or deliveries. He handed her the keys and the envelope. Inside was a handwritten note. When I had nothing, you said yes. Now that I have something, it belongs to you. Here's to building a kingdom one dream at a time. Your husband, Victor. Lydia broke. Right there in front of the crowd. She started crying uncontrollably. People thought it was joy, but it was guilt. Lydia, sobbing, you love me too much, too much. Victor, and I always will. Someone from the crowd took a video. This is the kind of love we all want. See how he pampers her. God, when. Within 24 hours, the video hit the internet. Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook pages started reposting. Man buys wife a car, writes her a love letter. Africa's husband of the year. Victor the mechanic shows what real love looks like. Lydia read the comments. Cry alone at night. Comment 1. If this woman ever cheats on him, God will punish her. Comment 2. True love still exists. Comment 3. This is what every woman prays for. She turned off her phone. Victor entered with dinner. Victor, you didn't eat lunch. Try this, it's your favorite. Lydia, why are you so good to me? Victor, because when I love, I don't hold back. Lydia, what if one day you found out I wasn't perfect? Victor, then I'd hold you closer. Because none of us are. She couldn't take it anymore. She went to the bathroom and threw up. Her emotions were drowning her. She looked at herself in the mirror. Lydia, whispering, you have to tell him, before Miles does. But fear held her like a chain. The hospital room smelled of disinfectant and sorrow. Machines beeped slowly. Lydia stood by her mother's bedside, holding her frail hand. Mrs. Helen, once fierce and proud, now looked like a shell of the woman she used to be. Her skin hung loosely, her eyes sunken. She hadn't eaten properly in days. Lydia gently wiped her mother's lips with a cloth. Lydia, softly, you need to eat, Mama. Please stay strong. Mrs. Helen gave a weak smile. Mrs. Helen, strong? I've been strong for too long. It's time to rest. Tears welled in Lydia's eyes. Lydia, don't talk like that. We still need you. Elijah needs you. I need you. Mrs. Helen closed her eyes slowly. Then suddenly, she opened them again and grabbed Lydia's wrist. Mrs. Helen, urgent, bring Victor. Lydia, now. Mrs. Helen, please. Alone. There's something he must know. Scene, hospital corridor, minutes later. Victor arrived breathless, still in his workshop clothes, smelling faintly of engine oil. Lydia met him at the door. Lydia, she wants to speak to you. Alone. I don't know why. Victor looked puzzled. Victor, me? Lydia, just go in. Please. She sounds serious. Scene, inside Mrs. Helen's hospital room. Victor entered slowly, nervous. He stood by her side, unsure what to say. Victor, good afternoon, Ma. Lydia said you asked to see me. Mrs. Helen opened her eyes again. She seemed alert, like her final strength was summoned just for this moment. Mrs. Helen, weak. Victor, you love Lydia, don't you? Victor, with all my heart. Mrs. Helen. And you would protect her no matter what? Victor looked confused but nodded. Victor. Yes, Ma. She is my life. Mrs. Helen took a long, shaky breath. Mrs. Helen. There is something you don't know about her past, about the child. Victor's eyes widened. Victor. What child? She tried to lift her hand but couldn't. Mrs. Helen. Struggling, she didn't kill him. She did what she had to do. The man, Miles, he... Suddenly, her breathing became rapid. Victor. Panicking, Ma? Ma, hold on. Please. Mrs. Helen. Last whisper, protect her, Victor. No matter what you hear, protect her. Her head fell to the side. The heart monitor gave a long, flat beep. Nurses rushed in. Victor stood frozen. Lydia burst into the room, seeing the commotion. Lydia! Screaming, Mama! Victor turned to her, stunned and pale. Victor, whispering, what did she mean by the child? What child, Lydia? Lydia looked at him, horror filling her eyes. But she said nothing. The weight of secrets pressed down heavily, and the grave had taken its final whisper. 2 days after the funeral, the house was heavy with silence. Lydia had barely spoken. Victor had stayed busy, avoiding questions he wasn't sure he wanted answers to. Scene, early morning, Victor at the workshop. Victor sat behind his shop, eating bread and beans off a nylon sheet. A young boy, one of the local delivery boys, approached him. Boy, Olga Victor, someone say make I give you this. He handed Victor a small brown envelope and left quickly. Victor opened it slowly. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Typed, your wife is not who you think she is. Ask her about Miles. Ask her about the child. Truth doesn't stay buried forever. There was no name, no phone number, no signature. Victor's hand trembled. He folded the letter slowly, then stared into space. Scene, that evening, at home. Lydia was preparing dinner, cutting onions silently. Victor entered, placing the letter on the kitchen table. Victor, calmly, someone dropped this for me today. Lydia looked at the envelope, her hand freezing. Lydia, what's inside? Victor, read it. She opened it with shaking hands. As her eyes scanned the paper, she turned pale. Lydia, whispering, who sent this? Victor, I was hoping you'd tell me. She stayed quiet for a moment. Victor, Lydia, do you have a child? She dropped the knife. It clattered loudly against the tile floor. Victor, is there something you've been hiding from me? Lydia, Victor, it's not what you think. Victor, then tell me what it is. Lydia, I can't, not yet. Victor, softly, is Miles a father? Her eyes filled with tears. She nodded slowly, biting her lips to stop them from trembling. Victor, and the child? Lydia, I was told he died at birth, but now, I don't know. Miles came back. He's threatening me. Victor turned away, holding his head in his hands. Victor, quietly, why didn't you tell me? Lydia, sobbing, because I didn't want to lose you. I was ashamed. I thought if I buried it, it would go away. Silence. Then Victor walked to her, placed his hands on her shoulders, and looked into her eyes. Victor, I married you for all that you are, not just what you told me. But you need be honest with me now. Lydia, I'm scared, Victor. Victor, I am too. But love is not always about being fearless. It's about choosing each other, even in the fear. She broke into tears. Victor, softly, I believe in you, Lydia. I will protect you, but no more secrets. She nodded and hugged him tightly, her tears soaking his shirt. Later that night, Victor alone. Victor sat on the balcony, holding the letter again. Victor, to himself, whoever you are, you won't break us. But deep inside, fear gnawed at him. If Miles truly had their child, what came next could destroy everything. The rain fell steadily outside. Thunder rumbled in the distance as Victor sat on the couch, still reading the anonymous letter over and over again. The living room was dimly lit, matching the weight in his chest. Lydia was asleep, exhausted by grief, guilt, and silence. Just as Victor leaned back to close his eyes, a knock came at the door. Knock, knock, knock. Not urgent, but intentional. Victor opened the door to find Grace, Lydia's childhood friend, standing in the rain with an umbrella and swollen eyes. Victor surprised Grace. It's almost midnight. Grace, I need to talk to you. Please, I can't wait. He let her in, handing her a towel. Victor, is Lydia okay? Grace, shaking. This is not about Lydia's health. It's about her past. Victor's eyes narrowed. He gestured for her to sit. Victor, go on. Grace wiped her face, took a deep breath, and began. Grace's confession. Grace. Years ago, before Lydia met you, she and Miles were together. You know that part. Victor nodded. Grace. But what most people don't know is she got pregnant. Victor's hands clenched slowly. Grace. Carefully, it was a scandal. Her parents were furious. Miles was cold. He didn't want the baby. But Lydia insisted. She wanted to keep the child. Victor looked confused. Victor, so what happened? Grace. Her mother arranged something. A private hospital. They told Lydia. The baby died during childbirth. It destroyed her. Victor sat up. Victor, so the child didn't die? Grace, softly, no. Miles found him recently. A boy named Elijah. He was adopted by a couple outside Lagos. We don't know how Miles traced him, but he did. And now he's using that to blackmail Lydia. Victor stood, pacing. Victor, why would anyone do this? Grace, because Miles never lets go. He's the kind of man who takes what he thinks belongs to him, even if it's love or revenge. Victor stopped. Victor, why are you telling me this now? Grace, because Lydia won't. She's trying to protect you. But I see what it's doing to her. And you deserve the truth. Victor sat back down slowly, face blank. Grace, you married her with pure intentions, Victor. But her past is claws, and it's coming for her. She stood up. Grace, do what you must. But please, don't let her face this alone. Later that night, Victor entered the bedroom. Lydia was awake, her eyes red and empty. Lydia, softly, was that Grace? Victor nodded. Lydia, she told you, didn't she? Victor sat beside her and held her hand. Victor, yes. She started crying. Victor, you don't have to hide from me anymore. I'm here. We're in this together. Lydia, I'm sorry. I didn't want to break your heart. Victor, you didn't. But now we have to face the man who's trying to destroy what we built. The next day, Victor made some calls, called in a few favors, and got a number, Miles' burner phone. He dialed with calm fingers but a raging storm in his heart. Scene. Phone call between Victor and Miles. Victor, it's me? Victor, Lydia's husband. Miles, chuckling, the lawyer mechanic. What can I do for you? Victor, let's meet. Man to man. Miles, I thought you'd never ask. Scene, abandoned warehouse that evening. The air was thick with tension. Victor stood in the center of an old warehouse with nothing but a black duffel bag beside him. Miles entered slowly, dressed sharp, with a smirk on his face. Miles, nice place for a goodbye party. Victor, let's talk business. Miles raised an eyebrow. Miles, go on. Victor tossed a bag toward him. Inside, bundles of cash. Victor, that's everything I've saved. Every last kobo. Take it. Leave Lydia. Leave the boy. Disappear. Miles knelt, checked the money, and laughed. Miles, this is impressive. You really are in love. Victor, serious, more than you can understand. Miles stood. Miles, you know, I could take this money. I could walk away. But what would be the fun in that? Victor, what else do you want? Miles walked close, too close. Miles, whispering, I want her. Victor stepped back. Miles, I don't care about the money. I want Lydia back. I want what I lost. Victor, she's not yours. Not anymore. Miles, you think love is about rings and sacrifices? I knew her before you did. She carried my child. That bond, you can't buy that with Naira. Victor clenched his fist but kept calm. Victor, she chose me. I won't let you hurt her again. Miles, coldly, then prepare to lose everything. Because I'm not leaving until she's mine or broken. He turned to walk away, grabbing the duffel bag. Victor, take the money, but if you come near her again, I'll fight you with everything I have. Miles, laughing, you just paid me to destroy your marriage. Let's see how long your loyalty lasts. Scene at home that night. Victor returned late, muddy and exhausted. Lydia rushed to him. Lydia, where were you? Victor, I met Miles. Her face turned white. Lydia, what did he say? Victor, he wants you back. He doesn't care about the money. Lydia, horrified, I'll never go back to him. Victor looked her in the eyes. Victor, then we fight. Together. Lydia, but what if he takes Elijah? Victor hugged her tight. Victor, then we fight harder. Because we're not just protecting ourselves anymore. We're protecting our son. Lydia broke into tears. Lydia, thank you for not giving up on me. Victor, a real man doesn't run when love gets messy. He stays. He sacrifices. That's what kings do. It was the third Sunday of the month, also known in their church as Testimony Sunday. People stepped forward to share how God had helped them through battles, some physical, some spiritual. The choir had just finished singing when the pastor stepped forward with a gentle smile. Pastor Michael, does anyone feel led to share a testimony? Don't hold back. Your truth may be someone's healing. The microphone stood in the center aisle. A few members came forward. The mood was light, full of joy. But Lydia's heart pounded like a drum in her chest. She sat beside her friend Grace, staring at the floor, hands trembling. Grace, whispering, you don't have to do this here. Lydia, softly, I do. He deserved the truth, from me, not whispers. Victor sat 3 seats away, unaware. He held a small notepad, listening quietly, his face unreadable. Suddenly, Lydia stood up. The whole church turned to look. Even Pastor Michael raised an eyebrow. She walked slowly down the aisle and picked up the microphone. Lydia's confession. Lydia, voice shaking, good morning, church. I don't have a testimony in the traditional sense, but I have a confession. A murmur ran through the congregation. Victor's head slowly turned toward her, eyes narrowing. Lydia, teary, I've been living with shame for a long time. I married a man who loved me with his whole heart, a man who built a life around me. And I carried secrets into our marriage. Lydia, years ago, I was in a toxic relationship. I got pregnant. My family told me the baby died, but he didn't. That man, Miles, found a child recently and tried to blackmail me. I didn't tell my husband. I was afraid of losing him. The entire hall went still. Lydia, even when my mother died and hinted at the truth, I remained silent until Victor, my husband, found out another way. She looked directly at Victor. Lydia, I hurt you. I hid the most important truth from you. Not because I don't love you, but because I do. And I was scared you'd see me differently. Victor stared blankly, his jaw clenched. Lydia, crying, but love deserves the truth. And today, I give it all to God. If you choose to walk away, Victor, I will understand. But I needed to stand before God's people and admit I failed you. People shifted in their seats, stunned. Pastor Michael stepped forward and gently took the mic. Pastor Michael, softly, thank you, Sister Lydia, for your courage. Healing begins in truth. But Victor stood, slowly. Without saying a word, he walked out of church. Lydia's heart broke all over again. Seen outside the church parking lot, Victor reached his car, breathing heavily. Grace rushed after him. Grace. Victor, wait. Victor, angrily, you knew. You knew and you didn't tell me. Grace. She begged me not to. She wasn't ready. Victor shook his head, tears welling up in his eyes. Victor, I was building a future with someone living in fear. How do you move forward when everything was a lie? Grace, not everything was a lie. The love was real. You showed her what love looks like. Now she's finally learning to return it fully. He got into the car and drove off. Lydia watched through the window, crumbling inside. 3 weeks later, Lydia's apartment. Lydia looked thin, tired, and emotionally drained. The house was quiet. Even the plants by the window had started to wither. She sat at the dining table, flipping through old photos. Their wedding day, Victor fixing her sandals in public, her surprise birthday breakfast in bed. Every memory stabbed like a blade. Knock, knock. She opened the door and found a brown envelope on the ground. No one was there, just silence. She picked it up and walked back inside, hands trembling. Inside the envelope were divorce papers, with her name already printed, and Victor's name beside hers. Her hands went cold, but then she noticed something strange. Victor's signature line was still blank. No signature. Just a yellow sticky note on top that read, "I didn't sign it, because I married you to heal, not to judge." Victor? Lydia gasped, covering her mouth. Tears fell freely. Scene, that evening, outside her door. The doorbell rang. She opened it slowly. Victor stood there, holding a box in one hand, and a single rose in the other. He looked different. Not angry, just tired and ready. "Victor," softly, "hi." Lydia burst into tears. "Lydia, I thought I lost you." Victor stepped in and hugged her tightly. "Victor, you never lost me. You were just running from your past. Now we face it together." Lydia, through tears, "I'm so sorry, Victor." "Victor, I know." They sat down on the couch, silence filled with peace this time. Seeing a new beginning. A few days later, they stood in front of a small boy, Elijah, about 6 years old, quiet, with deep brown eyes that looked too wise for his age. The social worker stood nearby, smiling. "Social worker, you both understand this step is permanent?" Victor knelt before the boy. "Victor, Elijah, we're not perfect, but we promise to love you, protect you, and be your forever family. Will you give us a chance?" Elijah looked at Lydia, then at Victor. He nodded slowly and hugged them both. Lydia broke into tears again, holding her son for the first time. Final scene, church months later. Victor, Lydia, and Elijah walked into the same church hand in hand. As they sat down, whispers turned to smiles. Pastor Michael welcomed them from the pulpit. Pastor Michael, some stories end in scandal, but some stories end in grace. Victor smiled at Lydia. She leaned on his shoulder, because sometimes the most romantic thing a man can do is stay.